Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, and entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got an excellent show for y'all, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So this is a pretty interesting one, right? Because it's a continuation of a debate that's kind of been ongoing all throughout the end of last week and throughout the weekend, right? As you guys know, LeBron made some comments after the game the Lakers won against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he was basically being critical of how the game itself was being covered. And then subsequently, they had a show, I believe it was on ESPN First Take on Friday, where where Stephen A. Smith, Gilbert Arenas, and these guys reacted to it. Stephen A. Smith gave some strong critiques. Fantastic. Then LeBron went on Twitter to respond to what Stephen A. Smith had to say, and we did a show about it, reacting to it. We also covered what Mike Wilbon had to say about it as well. And then subsequently, some more people came out. Shannon Fry came out. He was still trumpeting what he was saying and blah, 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 blah. So I kind of had a feeling, that Stephen A. Smith was going to respond to LeBron James, right, today. But little did I know that Stephen A. Smith was actually going to respond to LeBron on Twitter, right? He was going to respond to LeBron on Twitter because LeBron, after the game, I believe the first game they beat the Clippers, he spoke to Scott Van Pelt at the end of the game, and he made some more comments. So Stephen A. Smith got a hold of those comments and posted it on his Twitter, or was reacting to it on his Twitter, where he actually went at LeBron. Now, as you guys know, I just mentioned that the Lakers beat the Clippers that time. Well, the Lakers beat the Clippers again, right? The Clippers are just an absolute waste of time. They beat the Clippers yesterday. I watched like a little bit of the first half of that game, and I said to myself, I know for a fact that the Clippers are going to lose that game, and that's exactly what happened. I don't know if the Lakers are going to play the Clippers again this season, but if they do play the Clippers, I'm going to be picking the Lakers to beat them again, which is one of the reasons we're super excited to introduce our newest partner in Underdog Sports. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry, and it's super simple to use. All you have to do is just make 2 to 8 picks of your favorite player stats and choose whether they go higher or lower. You can 20x your money, by the way, and this is true, if you make 5 picks, and you get all of them right. So we implore you guys to visit underdogfantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with the app using our promo code DreamersPro to claim your free pick plus first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in cash. We're going to have that pinned in the comments. So you can just hit the link and go directly to the App Store. So appreciate if you guys check that out and support the channel. So what I want to do right now is I actually want to play what LeBron said first and then read what Stephen A. Smith said in response to him. So take a listen to what LeBron James had to say, his most recent comments in response to this entire conversation. Take a listen to LeBron James here.
Look, I think we all saw the comments you had to say today about the game, and I'm just interested in this sincerely. What matters about the conversation that surrounds your game to you and the stars in the league? What about it is significant? Because I try to dismiss it as it relates to us, but I'm not you all. What matters to you?
Yeah. What matters to me when it comes to my generation and the younger generation that's in our league now is that, we play it for the love of the game. We're not out here cheating the game. We putting the grind in. We putting the time in. We've always, gave up and gave props to the generation that came before us. Always bigged them up because we know without them it would not have been us. And we're just trying to carry on tradition. My generation, me, Steph, KD, Russ, James, Kawhi, the rest of our crew. And then we got the younger generation that's doing their thing as well. So, we love what we do. And it's a responsibility for all of us to continue to press the game, push the game in a positive factor for all our fans all over America and all over the world, because it's the best, most beautiful game in the world. When you watch basketball, you're basically listening to music. You're listening to jazz music, R&B music, rap music, hard, heavy metal music, everything essential with that. So, it's a beautiful game. We're all in a position to play this game, and we're here for a reason, but, we don't never take it for granted. So I hope everybody see that when we hit the floor.
Okay, great. So you heard what LeBron James had to say. Now, I want to go to what Stephen A. Smith's response was to LeBron on Twitter. And Stephen A. Smith said the following. I want to put it up for you guys now. It said, "No disagreement here from a King James. He's right about that. What's messed up is is the other BS he's spewing. That folks who covered the game are bleeping on the game, critiquing the game, pointing out who's doing and who's not doing it is not bleeping on the game. It's covering the game. Greatness is not only measured, it's compared to other greats. That's the way it's always been. Some can take it, some can't." So those were Stephen A. Smith's comments to what LeBron James was saying there. What are my thoughts about this? You know, it now seems like there's this kind of wave of people out there that are now trying to push back on some of the things that Stephen A. Smith and others have been saying, push back on the Charles Barkleys. And basically what these people are saying is that, look, you guys aren't celebrating this wonderful game enough. You guys are being way too critical of the game, right? And you guys are the reason why people are tuning out because of the negative coverage. I've heard a bunch of different athletes, NBA players within the last 3 days come out and say, hey man, you know, we gotta look at the game differently. We gotta cover the game this way. We gotta be more positive about the young fellas and this and this and this and this and this and that, right? And they've all kind of like fallen in line with what LeBron said, some of what JJ Redick said before. And what this makes me begin to believe is that this is like almost an initiative that these guys are undertaking to essentially try to change the narrative. Almost all the NBA guys are on it, especially the modern day guys. The previous generation guys seem to be a bit reluctant, and there seems to be some NBA fans that are pushing back on some of these things that LeBron and these guys want to promote in terms of, you know, covering the game in a colorful way and just telling you it's roses and daisies and all of this stuff. What are my thoughts on this? Look, LeBron talking about this topic, it has been very inconsistent because LeBron is talking about how beautiful the game is and our game has never been better and all of that. But then a month or so ago, leading into the All-Star game, he was talking about how the game has a lot of serious challenges. They're taking too many threes. There are a lot of problems. So it's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are we even talking about here? On the one hand, you yourself are complaining about the game, talking about we need to do something about it. But then when people point it out, all of a sudden they're covering the game negatively. I'm confused here. Number one. Number two, Stephen A. Smith brought up this word, and I'm gonna echo some of his sentiments. He spoke about standard. Okay, he spoke about a standard, and the question is, should there be a standard in the NBA? Right? Should the product have a certain standard that fans can expect? Or shouldn't there be a standard? These guys talking about the negative coverage of the game are, I mean, it's for me, and I'm being honest with you, and I'm not trying to be combative or a person that's always taking the opposite opinion. I forgot the contrarian. But I truly don't get what these guys are talking about. Because the fans complaining about the games, they're doing it for valid reasons. Are we forgetting all of the things that have happened over the last 5 to 10 years? Let's discuss load management. Players like Kawhi Leonard and all of these guys are the face of it. We're a team where you would have players that are perfectly healthy sitting out games. They're saying they're taking preventative measures. You had Commissioner Adam Silver going out there and saying some years ago, the science says that load management works. Then a few years later talking about the science says that load management doesn't work. When you started hearing players saying that this thing is actually leading to more injuries. You had the aspect of fans paying for games showing up and their favorite players are not there. We have the style of play. Teams are taking way too many threes. There's not enough resistance. There's no defense. There's no balance. People were complaining about that as well. You had people like Adam Silver talking about it. Did the NBA just start 10 years ago? No. What does that mean? It means that for the past 50 years, you have built a fan base throughout all these decades, that have been used to a certain thing, more or less. So when things begin to change, they're going to talk. But to say that they shouldn't say anything because what they're seeing, even though what they're seeing, they don't enjoy it, they should just say, hey, man, it's a new iteration of it. I don't understand what you're talking about. I mean, I'm confused. If you patronize the service, whether it may be, let's say, a particular airline, or you go to a particular hotel, or whatever it is, you go to a particular golf club, and you're used to a certain standard, and then all of a sudden their standard starts to change, you're not going to say anything about it? You're just going to be like, well, it's a new wave, so you got to respect what the young guys are trying to do. It's like, I'm really confused here. Because now what these guys are essentially saying is this: there are no problems. There are no problems. So therefore, talk about the positive things. Let's all stick our head in the sand and act like nothing is going on. We looked at the last few All-Star games. You didn't notice any issue there? Or is it just all in our minds? Or nobody should point that out? I'm confused. I'm really confused with these guys, and I don't. For the vast majority of the time, I don't know what they're talking about. I really don't know what these guys are talking about. I don't get it. I'm not smart enough. These guys are way too smart for me. I don't know what they're talking about. So I look forward to hearing what Stephen A. Smith has to say in response to this, but this is just my take. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you on the next show. I'm out. Peace.